Good morning. Happy Friday. Holy buckets. Took me forever to get to you guys. Finally made it. Yep. So, welcome to your early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum here with some words of wisdom to start your day off well. And I love this card. I love this card for the second day of a new year, and it is designed to shift us into a focus that's going to be healthier for us. Good morning, Abigail. Welcome. Glad you found me. I'm running late. So hopefully a few more of you catch up. We'll see. And yeah, what do I want to say about this card? I think it's a card that some can misread as asking you to do something opposed to what we've been working on, opposed to being kind to others, having empathy, reaching out, etc., etc. But I don't view it as being opposed. I view it as running parallel to that. We've talked about this before. Good morning, Gwen. Glad you're here. That we can do this and that. It doesn't have to be this or that. We have the capacity to, we've got big cortexes, man. Or is it cortices? I don't know. Anywho, we've got a big cortex, and we can use that to hold seemingly opposable things and do both. So, let us begin. Let me think here. Yeah. I think what I want to do is we're going to start with some tapping, and we'll do a whole circuit or two, and I'll focus on the things in the card, and then at the end I'll read the card itself as is. So let us begin with the side of the hand. Either one. I like doing both together. Either one. All right, take a breath. And out. I am ready, willing, and able to change. Breathe again. Good morning, Barb. We're doing some breathing and tapping. Welcome, welcome. I am willing to go within. Another breath. Let it go. I am willing to learn from within. Inside corner of the eyebrows. Mining my inner field. Outside corner of the eyes. Dwelling within my wisdom. Under the eyes. I have everything I need. Under the nose. I'm open to all signs and messages. Under the mouth. Good morning, Nancy. Glad you are here. We're just doing some tapping. I develop my spiritual life. And that doesn't mean religious, or as my friend Flo, who's 82, would say, churchianity. However it works for you. Collarbone. I go within. Under the arms, like where your bra strap runs across, I am willing to listen to my inner guidance. Hello, Beth. Glad you are here. Around the crown of the head, there's great wisdom within me. Inside corner of the eyebrows, I go within. Outside corner of the eyes, I take that wisdom into my everyday life. Under the eyes, I allow the outer world to take care of itself. Under the nose, I let go of what I cannot control. Under the mouth, I focus on choices I can make. Collarbone, the perfect steps are already picked, and I am guided to them. Under the arms, I seamlessly wed within and without. Around the crown of the head, and so it is. Nice deep breath in. And out. That feels good. I have to tell you, I bought myself a Christmas present yesterday. I never get, I don't buy much. I go to St. Vincent de Paul, my beautiful Chico sweater from St. Vincent de Paul. But it was a free webinar, a 5-day, I believe. Yes, 5 days. And about the third day in, I said, this is really good stuff. I really like this stuff. And it was not cheap, but they allowed a payment plan, and it didn't cost any more. There's my rule of thumb. It didn't cost any more to do the payment plan than it did to pay it all up front. So I did the payment plan. And way back in the day, like when this technology first came out, some of those who were putting out the information called it holosync, some called it hemisync, whatever you called it, it worked fabulously for me. So that was back in the day of cassettes. That's how far back it went. And I had one, I can still hear the music now. But what it did was it alternated between your ears, so it was forcing your brain to fire on both sides. And so this particular series, there's 60 tapes. They had a deal where you could buy 3 and get the 4th free. Or I started looking at all the titles and I'm like, oh, I want that one and I want that one. And oh, I could use that one and that'd be great. And by the time I was done, it was, almost all of them were relevant. So I thought, what the heck? I don't buy much for myself. I will love these. I will use these for years. And you could pay just a little bit extra. And being the technology not so wizard that I am, you could get the CDs and you could get digital. So I have both. And that way, if I decide I want to loan a CD to someone, like I've got one in mind already that I think would be good for one of my sisters, I can do that and not lose out on being able to access it myself. So just had to tell you, I'm so excited. And I think you will notice the differences as I'm using them. It's really interesting technology, and it really seems to work well for me. So can't wait to share some of that stuff with you as well. So our card deck for today is the Grace Card Stack, Cheryl Richardson. And our card is self. Self. So take a breath. Let it go. Go within. When we invest more energy in developing our spiritual lives, the outer world begins to take care of itself. And again, by spiritual life, she means your connection to the divine, your connection to all that is, your connection to wisdom itself, however you see that, and the path to get there is within. Richard Rohr talks about that often. So spend some time going within, even if it's short little bursts. I was working with somebody last night, and I'm going to run a parallel here. There are many things in her life that can use adjusting. And a friend of hers said, well, why don't you do this? I'll tell you this, and I want you to pay attention to your reaction to it. Her house needs updating and clearing. Why don't you do this thing that this lady talks about where every month she picks a room and she takes everything out of it, and the only things that get to go back in are the things she loves, and then everything else has to be gotten rid of. And so she's telling me about this, and I was quiet, and she said, and I told her, I don't think Bonnie's going to go for that as my plan. And I laughed and I said, and why did you tell her that? And she goes, because I wouldn't do that. I would probably do the first room, take all the stuff out, get overwhelmed, and then all the stuff is sitting in a different room, and I have an empty room that I'm too tired to clean, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, good catch. Some of us are not wired to do it that way. Again, the value of incremental things, right? Incremental change. So we set a goal instead that every day she's going to take one thing out of that room and deal with it. One. Now, does that seem like it's going to get her very far? No. But what happens is, I mean, at the very least, at the end of the year, 365 things will have been dealt with. But I know how this works. She'll do one thing, and then she'll go, well, here's another one that's exactly the same. I can deal with it at the same time I deal with the first one. She's now dealt with two things. The universe then notices that she is dealing with it finally and decides to give her some help. And a friend calls and says, hey, would you like me to come and help you with your room for a half a day, and then we'll go out to Pete's for lunch. A bunch of stuff gets dealt with in a pleasant way, not in that crack the whip over yourself kind of way, right? So the same with this stuff in terms of developing our spiritual lives. It doesn't mean we do an overhaul. It means incremental steps. It might mean instead of blowing something off that requires us to think in a spiritually aligned way, we actually engage with it. We're like, well, yeah, how do I feel about that? What do I think about that? I heard this minister, pastor, priest, whatever, say X. What are my thoughts on that? Read a beautiful letter that went in the newsletter from a particular faith community, and it was an anonymous letter, but this person was talking about how appreciative they are of this particular faith, that they're allowed to be doubtful, that they're allowed to question things, that they're allowed to have their uncertainties about their developing faith. And that, you know, my perspective from the outside looking in is being allowed the uncertainties means that you can work some things through to a place where you're accepting of what you've come to, right? Not, yeah, pick one box, one shelf, one drawer at a time. Yes, do small amounts. And I always tell people, ridiculously small. So think about someone who's overhauling their spirituality. Some people will jump in and read every faith tradition's books and then make some decisions. Others will stick their toe in the water. They're just going to, it's kind of like how I set up my coaching. I've got 2 programs and 2 packages. The programs are for the jump in the deep end people. The packages are for the people who, I just want to try this out and see how this thing goes. I want to work with her 3 sessions and see what I think. Am I making any progress? Am I not? Whatever. So we have the toe sticker inners and we have the jump off the deep enders. Both are welcome. Both are, and we've got people everywhere in between, right? And depending on what the issue is, we may be a toe sticker inner or we may be a jumper inner. You know, when it comes to overhauling my spiritual life, I might be the toe sticker inner. When it comes to overhauling my relationships, I might be the jump in the deep ender. Who knows? But go within. Go within. That is our guidance for today. Go within. When we invest energy, and I actually, someone else was struggling yesterday with what to do with some things. And my answer to her included a chunk of go within, ask a question, discern, etc. And she got her answer. So, there we are. Go within. Go within. So, I'd love to have you put in the feed something that in this early part of 2026, you want to go within and discern about. What will it be for you? For me, it's going to be what's the best path forward for the particular project. I counted. This month alone, I have over 11 meetings related to housing stuff. 11. And that's not even counting the ones that are sort of like regular monthly meetings where I'm present as either an observer or a participant. But they're not the ones that are necessarily a small, intimate group that's actually working on a particular project. 11. So, on average, that's 1 every 3 days. So again, my inward work, in addition to listening to my Holosync tapes, is going to be tapes. You can tell my age. Never mind. Is going to be that discernment process. That discernment process. Yes, thank you, Gwen. That is the guidance for today. Go within. Take some time. Go within. And allow there to be some time where you might not get a ton of guidance to begin with. It might be kind of like crickets. Until you've shown up enough that your inner wisdom feels like you're ready, it may not cough up a whole lot of guidance. Don't worry about that. Keep showing up. That happens in Native cultures often. So especially when white people show up with their tobacco. Hey, I want to know about this. No. You show up, you listen. 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 You're learning all the way along. But it may take a while, sometimes even years, before an elder will more directly answer the question that you've posed. There's a method to that. There's a method to that. And we need to appreciate that divine method. So, go within. That is your guidance for today. Have an awesome day. Tomorrow I will attempt to be more timely, but I'm glad a bunch of you found me anyway. And know that you are capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.